And we're back.
And we are back. Welcome to the PTZ Optics live show. Welcome back. Very important live giveaway happening just right now.
Yes. Before we have our next discussion with our partner here, Cliff, we're going to roll the giveaway. So I have Michael, our trusty producer, back there. He's going to pick the winner. I'm going to let you know who claims their prize, but you must be in the YouTube chat if you're watching virtually. This way everybody has access to answer. Or physically here, of course. So if you want to claim your prize, I'll give you a moment to head to PTZ Optics YouTube channel to claim your prize. Dennis, what?
Nava. Dennis Nava.
Dennis Nava.
Are you here?
Dennis Nava, are you here? We put that in the YouTube chat. You must claim your prize on the YouTube chat, in the YouTube chat.
So as we're kind of rolling these, I'd like to talk to you a little bit, Cliff, about your company, the Streamcast Network.
This is correct.
Located in
East Northport, New York.
East Northport, New York. I was going to say Long Island, but...
Which is actually southeast of Northport.
What?
True story.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. I understand your family has been in media for over 65 years.
Yeah, first of all, I really would like to thank you guys for having me on. I'm honored that you asked me to be on the show.
Well, we appreciate that.
My family actually has been somewhat in the media, film industry for, I'd say, at least 65 years. My uncle was a very well-known sound editor. You would know some of the movies he worked on, like Serpico, Scarface, Cotton Club. And he actually got into the business through my father, who was the controller of a film dubbing company. And they did a lot of dubbing of the original animes in the early 1960s. I actually brought a clip here. But yeah, so, and all kinds of foreign movies. And we had a movie projector, a 16 millimeter sound movie projector in our home in the early 1960s. This is way before VCRs. And we got to watch TV shows and movies.
Do you have that old brochure, Michael, that we can queue up by any chance?
Yeah, we have some pictures we can queue up.
So that brochure that you're looking at right now, when I used to collect movies when I was a kid. And I took the projector that my dad had when he was in the movie business, and he used to drive me around to kids' parties. And I used to show movies at kids' parties on weekends. I used to make extra money doing that.
Wow.
So the media, the moving image has always been in my blood.
Wow, that's incredible.
You could probably teach us a thing or two then.
I don't know about that.
Well, you share some knowledge with us, some tips, and we appreciate that.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about, we're going to pick some winners, and we're going to call winners as we're having this conversation until we find one. But what you're doing today, it's funny to look back. It really gives a historical perspective, how far media has come and changed. And I think maybe someone like you has a perspective to see that like the time is kind of now, strike while the iron is hot. And it only seems to me in the past 5 or 10 years getting more and more and more exciting and bigger and better opportunities. In fact, Facebook Live was only 2 or 3 years ago. I think it's been a major change now. LinkedIn's coming. So just tell me,
Hank
high level, you decided to get into this. What was your thought process of starting your own show and getting out in the world?
So I always knew that film and video wasn't going away. But what I did know was that I had to adapt. And I think I waited a little bit too long. But I'm good at adapting, and I like adapting. And I had a company that we worked in the moving image. It was an education and training, but it was all about digital imaging. And as we kind of finished that company after about 25 years of work, I was wondering, well, what am I going to do next? I kind of stumbled upon an application called Meerkat. And I started playing with Meerkat. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Wow, I can just start a video and people are going to start watching me. That really doesn't happen as much today because, as you know, while Facebook and Instagram and all these other platforms allow you to live stream, they throttle what people see unless you're willing to pay them. Mm-hmm. So I see that LinkedIn is a fantastic place to go because they seem like Facebook or YouTube 7 years ago. And to me, that's a way for me to adapt, do what I love, and stay relevant.
That's an interesting perspective. They are a little bit behind in the game, but and it's also a different kind of platform with the professionalism that I think we're going to see some interesting, very specific content there.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, I know you have a lot of experience working in the corporate world, maybe not
Yes.
for a corporate company, but for large enterprise companies. And I think that LinkedIn Live is going to be the place to stream content, to do that B2B, business-to-business type of presentations. Now, when we're talking about B2C, consumers all over the map, you're going to see kind of different things. But B2B is really a more professional, solution-based, type of, not selling, but definitely presentation. What do you see happening on LinkedIn, and what type of preparation should businesses be thinking about as this comes about?
Right. So I'm going to give you a couple statistics. Cisco says that by 2022, 82% of all internet traffic will be video. Facebook says that people will watch a live stream video 3 times longer.
Yes, we hear
than a
that.
recorded video. What does that mean? That means that your audience is going to be more connected. They're more connected to a live video. What does that mean? You better start implementing video into your marketing plan.
If not live. Yeah, we can do that.
I was always in the sales training world, and I looked at sales training and the sales cycle. It's very similar. It really has come full circle to marketing yourself and selling yourself using live streams. That doesn't mean that you're going to be a QVC channel, but if you provide good content, people get to know who you are. People get to like you. They get to trust you. You've now shortened the sales cycle. Now, if I were to sell you something and you saw me on a live stream every week, you'd go like, oh, I know Cliff. I see him every week.
I saw that happen earlier. Somebody said, I know you.
Right. I know you. I've seen you before. So what does that do? It gives me recognition. I've provided you good content, so I've built credibility, and I'm going to shorten the sales cycle. And so for any corporation that wants to expand, live video specifically, I believe, is a necessity.
I love shortening the sales cycle. I mean, anybody in business wants to do that. We all understand the sales funnel. It can start with, and I think one of the things I've always thought about too, so you can shorten the sales cycle, but I also think live video can be used in almost every stage of the sales cycle.
Absolutely.
It needs to be thought about, and we've actually talked about this before, where there's the top of the funnel. A lot of people like to think about it as a funnel,
right?
Where people just need to find out who you are.
There's so many different applications. Major. We could just be doing a talk show, just providing good information. Or maybe we have a launch of a new product in about 4 months from now. So we start just talking about stuff.
All right, Nashla, you're here.
Right, we finally got a winner, and she's right here.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, wait. Really?
Yeah.
Another winner that's at the show.
Congratulations.
That makes me so happy.
Streaming right here, folks.
Congratulations.
You're seeing it right
Thanks.
here.
You won a free PTZ Optics camera.
Congratulations.
We're having fun.
I love it. This is the second winner we have that's at the show.
Wow. All of
That's
our
even
winners are
better.
at the
That's
show.
perfect.
That's great.
That's excellent.
I'm getting old. Where was I? Oh, so here's something. So you're going to be launching a new product or a new service in, let's say, 6 months. So start a live stream and start just providing good content that may, in a very subtle way, apply to the product you're going to sell in 6 months. The closer and closer you get to that launch, the more you talk about specific capabilities or benefits that are going to speak to that product, and then you start weaving in the actual product itself until you get so close to that launch. Now the show's about the product.
Maybe you talk about the problem that the product will solve, something
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
Very
totally.
interesting.
Yeah.
We know that you have a studio, of course, that you have
do.
multiple shows that you're involved with, and you do some event streaming as well.
I have.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. Are you going to bring up any of the images?
Yeah, we have some images that we're going to roll of your studio.
So I feel really fortunate because in my last business, I bought a commercial building. And so I took half the building and I help out others who need space, like a shared office space. And then I took half the building.
They're good pictures.
Okay, so we're going through the different pictures. Oh, they're going real fast. There's the PTZ Optics camera. The PTZ Optics camera has a very specific function for us, and it's a very important function. We mounted it on the ceiling. So, and we do multi-angle green screens. So I'll actually take a shot of a background, like photography or background from up here, and I'll take the PTZ Optics and I'll zoom in on, like, if I'm having a lot of people on the set, and we'll do a preset and zoom in on somebody with a green screen that's looking down. We also use it if we have somebody making comments on the show. We have a preset, so a comment's made and the technical director pushes a button and it goes whoop, and it goes right to the person making it. For events.
For an in-studio audience type at an event.
What's really, that's in studio, but at an event, we use the PTZ for audience reaction.
Yes.
And not only audience reaction, but now someone's asking a question, we take that PTZ and we zoom in on the person who's making the audience reaction. So that has specific uses. We also use mirrorless cameras with different types of lenses in studio and also at events. So if we're shooting a concert, I really like using the mirrorless cameras because we have the interchangeable lenses and we can get a really dramatic effect when we're live streaming.
You always have that beautiful, I don't know what the word is.
Right.
Yeah,
bokeh,
with the bird out
or shallow depth of field.
Shallow depth of field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always pull this up. I'm like, Paul, look at this. I'm impressed.
Looks good.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm doing that in faux. So if the green screen, I'm doing a close-up of a host or a guest, I've now shot another shot, which is, and I blur it a little bit, and I make it look faux, like it has a depth of field.
Very clever.
You could really tell, but I was like, he must be doing that.
Yeah. So I cheat.
The trickery of the game.
Yeah.
It's not cheating. It's just.
So our studio we have like a 25 by 30 green screen. So it's about 25 long, and then it goes 30 this way. So we go about 12 feet out onto the floor. So we can do full body green screen. We don't do a lot of that, but we can do full body. We also have it on rails. We have multiple backdrops and drapes on a rail that goes 360 around the whole studio. So we can move backgrounds and green screens at will.
That's pretty darn cool.
Plus, we have a lighting grid, and we've got different types of lighting. We've got LEDs, we've got Kino flows, we've got all different types of lighting. I'm very spoiled because a really good friend of mine who also is a very accomplished grip has a 3-ton grip truck, and I can get any light I need whenever I want.
Wow.
Okay, then we know who to call if we need a light.
Joe Lavolsi of Crab Meadow Films.
Wow.
He's shot with a camera. Warren Buffett, Michelle Obama.
The camera.
Yeah, I was being very clear about that. But, so he's done a lot of cool stuff, and so that's why the lighting in our shows look so good. It's because of Joe. I'm very fortunate that I've surrounded myself with people who are much better than me at what they do.
And I think that being humble like that opens you up to some great opportunities, I can imagine.
Absolutely. Well, it's the
and
truth.
A learning opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the truth. I'm good at certain things. I'm never going to be great at lighting. I know lighting, understand it, and if you want me to do a basic setup, I can do it. But if I want to do great lighting, then I bring someone in like Joe, or someone who's better at technical directing, or someone who's even better at, I actually take shows and we cut clips out of the shows. Sometimes I do the post. Sometimes I give them to our technical director, Frank, who's really great at Adobe Premiere, which is the other great part of live streaming, is being able to repurpose that content in so many different ways.
Whether it's piecing it apart and redistributing it,
yes.
Whether it's using it at a later time as assets in another show or recorded content and what have you. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I'll actually probably cut some of this up and reuse it.
Yes, and we'll make sure you get the footage for that. Before we wrap up, is there anything we should be plugging because we want to support you as a customer and as a certified studio?
We've just started offering a new studio service that we can have companies come in and we can help them build their own shows, and they can do their own shows in our studio.
Like that.
Also, we can build studios remotely. So we have some clients now that we're building studios for them in Manhattan, and we're going to remotely direct those shows from East Northport using vMix and using PTZ Optics products, because we can pan, tilt, zoom. We've got vMix, and we use TeamViewer. It's amazing to me. In my mind, if you look at where I came from emulsion and glue, right? We scraped emulsion off to make an edit. And now what we're doing here with live streaming and all the possibilities, to me, coming from a long time, from a different place. It's mind-blowing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here, Cliff.
You're welcome.
This is Cliff Sobel with the Streamcast
Thank you.
Network.
Really appreciate it.
Up next, I believe we have one more interview before we head to the main stage. Thank you guys so much.
Ryan Brenneman.